Hey, it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. In a previous video, we had to replace the master cylinder. Now, if you recall in that video, the master, I don't know exactly what went, but no brake pedal went all the way to the floor, and when we opened the hood, the master, there was fluid everywhere around the master, dripping down and everything like that. So we just closed it up for the winter and put it into hibernation. When we took it out this spring, I knew I had to do the master cylinder. I didn't really investigate where it was leaking from or anything like that. So in the previous video on this car, we did the master and bench bled it, put it on, and then bled the lines after we put it on, and we had still a lousy pedal. The car stopped, but the pedal was really low, going all the way down to the floor pretty much, and just didn't have the feel that it should have. Real low, lazy pedal is the best way I could describe it. So we said, well, we're gonna have to bleed the wheels then. Bled the master, bench bled it out the lines once it was on the car, and then we go to bleed the wheels. And we bled the wheels, we just did the regular 2-man bleed, cracked the bleeders open. I got a good stream of fluid at all wheels, all the calipers were working, and I was satisfied that I had bled it, but no change in the brake pedal. So we drove it around for a week, no change at all. Not that I thought there would be any change. So what we are going to do now is we're going to try to really flush that old fluid out. The fluid that came out looked like burnt syrup. It was really dark, really bad. So we made a 1-man bleeder flush kind of thing. So we took a piece of 1/4-inch tubing in a sports jug, and I got a little zip tie on that side and a little zip tie on this side, just so this piece of the hose stays in the bottom, submerged in brake fluid. We're going to put some brake fluid in here. So what we're going to do, and hopefully this 1/4-inch tubing is going to fit on the bleeder screw without allowing air to come in. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a turkey baster, and we're going to take some fluid out of the master, because even though we put clean fluid in the master from driving it around and bleeding the brakes and everything, it kind of mixed with the old fluid that was in there. So we're going to take fluid out of the master, put it in here so that we have our starting point in here, which is just to get that hose submerged. So we'll get about 1 inch of it in here, put fresh fluid in the master, and hopefully we'll be able to not just bleed it out but flush it out as well, so we have all new fluid in there, because the fluid was very dark and dirty, and I'm feeling that little bleeding we did wasn't enough to get the air that might have been trapped all the way up here all the way back. I didn't really get any air out. I got fluid out. When I first cracked it open, the first couple of times we did, the hold and crack it open and everything, it just dribbled out. The pressure seemed to get a little better, but it never really was real good. So now we're going to try to bleed it out this way, and which is what I wanted to do last week when we bled them the old-fashioned way, but the hose that I had was too big for the bleeder screws, and it just was leaking all over the place and it didn't work. So now with this new hose, hopefully we'll be able to get it in. Now we'll take this out for right now, and we are going to get some brake fluid out of our master into our jug here. Now you can see no leaks in and around our master, so the leaking problem that we had at the end of the season last year was definitely the master leaking. I think it was leaking between the reservoir and the O-rings of the body. Alright, the brake fluid's a little dirty, not too bad. I'm going to suck some out. Alright, so I'm going to put my bleeder contraption together. That's how much fluid I have in the bottom. I'll set that to the side, and we're going to put some fresh fluid in the master. Alright, so I got fresh fluid in the master. I'm going to take my cover and I'm going to give it a little wipe around the edges, and I am just going to lay it on top. I'm not going to snap it down because I'm very gently going to be pressing the brakes, and it's going to go down. I think I'll be okay like that. Now I have to jack the car up and take a tire off to get at the bleeder screws on this one. All right, so with my contraption set up, this is the best viewing angle I could give you. I wish I could give you a little better. Let me try. I got the bleeder cracked open, and now I'm going to try to push some through and see what happens. All right, well, that fluid looks nice and clear. I'm going to tighten the bleeder up. And I'm going to take my reservoir. I'm going to drop it down below the level of the bleeder to see if I can just get the fluid to run into the hose so that I'm not spilling it all over the place. All right, so you can see our level in the container. We started about there, I would guess. So we pulled about an inch, inch and a half out as far as how much is in this container. And the fluid started coming out a nice color. Not perfectly clear, but a much better color than this dark, dirty fluid that's in it. So I'm gonna put this tire back on. I'm gonna do the other rear. And then when I do the front and I could turn the wheel to give you a better angle, I'll catch up with you in the front again. So let me get to this. Just got done with the last wheel and I got that much fluid out of it. I kept using a piece of tape so I knew from wheel to wheel how much I was getting out of each wheel. The closer you got to the master, the less you had to pull out before it became clear. I know this is supposed to be a one-man bleed, but I wish I could have seen what was coming out as I was pumping it to see if there was any air in there. So because I couldn't do that, I tried to check on a couple of the video clips that I shot of while I was pumping of what was coming out. What I wound up doing was just pumping real slow. I left the cover of the master off and just real slow pressure up and down the backs. I had to do about 10-15 times. The fronts about 5 times and then I would check, do it three or four times and check, and until I had nice clear fluid coming out. So clean fluid coming out means I got anything that was, in the master came out the wheel, so there should be no air in there. I don't have any drips on the floor. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to top off my master, put the cover on, and we'll check it out and see. All right, waste of time. Fail. Well, was it a waste of time? I flushed out all the old, really ugly brake fluid, but the pedal sort of felt firm before I started. I started up and it's to the floor again. It stops fine. It's just all the way at the end of its travel. I think I got a bad master. There's no change really after I bled all these wheels out and got all fresh fluid in there. So I think it was a bad master all along. I think we bench bled it great, put it on, bled it at the master with the lines by cracking the lines the old-fashioned way, and we probably didn't have to bleed it. It was probably a bad master all along. So we're gonna get another master in and hopefully get this figured out, because this is my wife's car and she ain't driving it like this. Me and Robbie have been driving it like this, but she ain't gonna drive it like this. So let's get another master in and see what we can come up with. We'll continue along with this brake drama on the next episode of the IROC series, playlist, whatever you might call it. Questions, comments, criticisms, all down below. Let me know what you think if you run into this, if bad master, does it seem like a bad master? Let me know what you think. And as always, thanks for watching.